Calibro Bagger. The Bagger has arrived out of the box, the Bagger, mid-size of Moto Morini. And that is the dark protagonist of this video. A protagonist out of the box for a video out of the box. Welcome, in fact, on the channel of AM Network from your Motoretto. What you are about to see is not the usual preview test, although of course I will tell you my impressions of the new Calibro Bagger. But it is an itinerary, a little trip inside Milan that was inspired precisely by the Calibro, a precision instrument that will help us to know the city better, and some places certainly off the tourist routes that the Milanese surely will recognize. I am in the neighborhood of Ortiga. Is one of the most popular neighborhoods, symbolic for Milan, especially of that Milan of the first half of the 20th century. And what you see behind me is one of the many murals that color and enliven this neighborhood. That is knowing today a new spring mural by the collective Ortica Noodles that depict various faces of personalities that have made the history of Milan, but not only also of the Italian culture here behind me. Surely you recognize some faces of women who have made the history of the city, in particular Alda Merini, the poetess of whom I will surely come back to tell you about. But scattered around the neighborhood there are other faces such as those of Ornella Vanoni, Enzo Giannacci, Dario Fo, Giorgio Gaber. In short, all the personalities who have contributed to the history not only of the city but also of culture, from literature to entertainment. Here is that the Calibro has inspired this itinerary through Milan. We are at the most easterly point. We will cross the city. We will go west in an itinerary, obviously not linear, to discover some places not so famous, at least I hope surely, an excuse to come and visit Milan and to know a different reality. We will go from the atmosphere noir, more from crime fiction, up to literary cafes and fashions, the trend of the moment, a path also through the history of the city. So if you're ready, get on the saddle with me on the Moto Morini Calibro Bagger, and stage after stage I will also reveal some details about this bike.
Search, buy, sell the used bike of your dreams.
First stage, Città Studi, Piazza Leonardo. In front of the Polytechnic of Milan stands a stage dedicated to Giorgio Scerbanenko, the undisputed master of Italian noir, giallo all'italiana. Scerbanenko made a deliberate choice to set many of his novels in Città Studi, a decision rooted in his personal connection to the area. In one of his most celebrated works, I Milanesi ammazzano al sabato, Milanese kill on Saturdays, the protagonist, Duca Lamberti, resides in the building that now houses the Arp Guinness pub beneath it, a popular gathering spot for Polytechnic students. Scerbanenko's attachment to this particular building wasn't merely literary. He frequented it because of a woman he deeply loved. The entire Città Studi neighborhood became a canvas for his stories, as these were the very streets he traversed during his daily walks to Piazza Carlo Erba, where he spent 2 decades working as a journalist at Rizzoli before establishing himself as a renowned writer. For literature enthusiasts and curious readers alike, I strongly recommend delving into Scerbanenko's detective stories. Through his works, you'll discover a multitude of locations around Piazza Leonardo that contributed to that distinctive noir atmosphere, an atmosphere that resonates not only in the name Calibro, but is also reflected in the sleek black finish of the Moto Morini. Speaking of the motorcycle, it showcases a design clearly influenced by the American bagger style, featuring its characteristic batwing fairing. This bike stands out as unique in the market. It's the only custom bagger equipped with a front-end twin-cylinder configuration. Despite being a mid-size motorcycle, it delivers all the essential cruiser elements: a low-set seat, forward-positioned footrests, and a relaxed riding posture. The bagger-specific enhancements include superior aerodynamic protection and 2 sturdy 19-liter suitcases that provide ample storage capacity. Now let's mount up and continue our journey toward the historic heart of the city, where more stories and discoveries await us. Another of the places mentioned by Shabanenko is the Bar Basso, one of the historical places here in Milan. You can find it in one of his novels, The Private Venus. And speaking of historical places, we simply must make a stop at Bar Jamaica, established in 1911, one of Milan's most iconic bars and literary cafes, where countless artists, both local and international, have passed through. The great Ernest Hemingway himself was among them, but most notably, this is where Dario Fo, who would later become a Nobel Prize winner in literature, gave his first speeches and shared his early stories. This gives us the perfect opportunity to cruise through the Brera district, Milan's historic center, and test the caliber on the cobblestones. I must say, the suspension's comfort is impressive despite its limited travel. It's really a great compromise. Plus, that classic cruiser position with the forward set feet makes for a comfortable ride. Let's not waste any more time. We'll navigate through Milan's traffic with our noir protagonist and discover the story of another literary figure. And here we are at number 30 Via Magolfo, nestled between the two Navigli in Milan's Movida district. This particular stretch of Via Magolfo represents the quieter side of the Navigli area, but what makes this spot truly special is Alda Marini's house, now transformed into a dedicated space celebrating the poetess. Born on the first day of spring, Morini has undoubtedly influenced successive generations of intellectuals and artists, not just in Milan, but far beyond, through her remarkable work. Today, her house serves as a vibrant cultural space where artists can flourish. Visitors can not only immerse themselves in Morini's life story, but also experience concerts, live performances, and poetry readings when the venue is open. During normal hours, you can settle into the literary cafe and soak in the unique atmosphere created by this big-hearted poetess. Speaking of heart, it feels natural to transition to discussing the heart of the Calibro, its twin-cylinder engine. This liquid-cooled front-mounted power plant boasts 693 cubic centimeters, delivering 69 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 6.9 kilogram meters of torque at 6,500 RPM. It's an engine with genuine spirit and verve, yet it maintains remarkable smoothness at lower revs. On a relaxed day like today, you can comfortably cruise at 30 kilometers per hour without any strain, experiencing perfectly linear power delivery. However, once you pass the 3,000 RPM mark, the engine begins to show its true grit. When we hit the open road, we typically keep it above these revs, where it pushes forward with real character. The 6-speed gearbox demands somewhat decisive shifts, but it definitely delivers satisfaction in terms of performance. This Calibro proves surprisingly agile and maneuverable. We're testing it here in the city center, and I must say it's quite different from your typical bagger, which can often feel oversized. This medium-sized cruiser strikes a perfect balance. Now, since we're here in the Movida area, let's continue our tour and explore another unique feature we always find in this neighborhood. While the Navigli has transformed from Milan's most bohemian quarter into its most touristy district, I promised you an off-the-beaten-path itinerary. Here we are on the Navigli, but I'm going to show you a different side of it. Sure, you'll find all the famous cocktail bars here, like Mag, undoubtedly one of the most renowned and frequented spots. But if you really want to count for something in Milan's power society, you don't head to these well-known establishments. Instead, you seek out the speakeasy clubs, those hidden gems. For instance, if you can earn the trust of the grandmaster behind the counter here, they might tell you about 1930, a secret club they run. It's a place where, in a prohibition-era atmosphere, you can enjoy your cocktails alongside fellow insiders. But you know our philosophy. Either you drink or you drive. And today we definitely prefer to drive. And if you're in the area, you can definitely stop for a hot drink at Bar Giambellino. Yes, this is the famous bar immortalized in Gabba's song. While it looks a bit different now, smaller than it used to be, you can still find pictures inside showing the singer-songwriter who would arrive here on his Vespa. He often came to visit his girlfriend, Ombretta Colli, who lived nearby. This is the Bar del Giambellino, the one from the famous song Cerruti Gino. Now though, we need to get back on the road. A sunset is about to steal away the last minutes of daylight. And among the places frequented by the legendary Mr. G was this location. Here we are at Viale Monterosa 84. What you see behind me is now an occupied building, has been since 2001. But until 1985, this was where all of Milan's finest comedians would gather. This was the Derby Club, founded in the 1960s, initially as a restaurant by the maternal uncles of someone who would become a very famous actor, Diego Abbatantuono. Beyond Gabba, this stage saw performances by the Goofy, Boldi, Posetto, basically all the comedians who started their careers from the 70s through the 80s. While the torch was eventually passed to the Zelig Club, this place truly represents a significant chapter in Italian entertainment history. But now I put my helmet back on and we set off again for one last leg even further west in our journey through Milan. And we're also going to draw a little bit of a summary of our experience riding the Baldia Calibro. And here we are at the final leg of our journey through Milan. We've pushed westward, which is fitting as the city itself is growing in this direction. Here lies the entirely new Milano Innovation District, home to shopping malls, tech offices, hospitals, and modern residences. A testament to a city that's expanding while treasuring its past, as we've seen from the Città Studi district through Brera's center. I hope this journey has been interesting for you, but more importantly, I hope it's helped us discover this precision instrument that is the Calibro Bagger. This motorcycle certainly has many arrows in its quiver, first and foremost being that it's the first and only bagger of this size, making it an accessible bagger both in terms of price and dimensions. With its seat positioned quite low at 725 millimeters from the ground, typical of a cruiser, it's really a bagger that maintains compact proportions, slim enough, short enough, and agile enough, as we've witnessed today in traffic. We've also seen how the suspension, despite its necessarily limited travel given the bike's configuration, still responds well to bumps and cobblestones. The braking system is quite good too, I must say, particularly the rear unit, while the front might benefit from a bit more bite. But that's part of the custom style of riding that favors rear braking. The engine has just the right amount of spirit to get by not only in the city, but also when you venture out for a nice ride. Then you can take full advantage of both the aerodynamic protection offered by the batwing fairing and of course the storage capacity. While not exceptional, the two bags provide enough space for a pleasant journey. Our Motoretto is complete, but before we wrap up, I remind you to subscribe to the Moto.it channel and visit our website, where you'll find fresh news daily and many advertisements for both used and new bikes. You might even find an interesting offer on the Calibro Bagger, which, by the way, I haven't mentioned yet. Moto Morini is offering it at 8,190 euros. We see you at the next, and as I always say anywhere, give gas but responsibly. Ciao.